Hello, and welcome back. My continuation of my book reading of Stephen King's novel Later. It's been a while actually since I read this book, and I found that there was a little bit time to continue with it. So, let's continue. I had never gotten such a reply from a dead person before. True, my experience was limited. But up until then, I would have said that they had to tell you the truth first time, every time. What did he say? Liz asked, still talking from the corner of her mouth. I ignored her and spoke to Terriold again. Since there was no one around, I spoke louder, enunciating every word the way you would for a person who was deaf or only had a shaky grasp on English. Where is the last bomb? I also would have said that the dead can feel pain, that they're beyond it, and Terriold certainly did not seem to be suffering from a cataclysmic self-inflicted wound in his head. But now his half-bloated face twisted, as if I were burning him or stabbing him in the belly instead of just asking him a question. Don't want to tell me? What did he? Liz began again. But then the lady with the baby came back out. She had a lottery ticket. The baby in the papoose had a Kit Kat finger which he was smearing all over his face. Then he looked at the bench where Terriold was sitting and started crying. The mom must have thought her kid was looking at me, because she gave me another glance, mega distrustful this time, and hurried on her way. Champ! Jamie! Shut up, I said. Then, because my mother would have hated me talking to any grown-up like that. Please. I looked back to Terriold. His grimace of pain made his ruined face look more ruined than ever, and all at once, I decided I didn't care. He had maimed enough people to fill a hospital ward. He had killed people. And if the note he pinned to his shirt wasn't a lie, he had died trying to kill even more. I decided I hoped he was suffering. Where is it, you? He clasped his hands around his middle, bent over like he had cramps groined. Then he gave it up. King Cullen. The King Cullen supermarket in Eastport. Why? Seemed right to finish where I started, he said, and drew a circle in the air with one finger. Complete circle. No, why did you do it at all? Why set all those bombs? He smiled, and the way it kind of squenched the bloated side of his face. I still see that, and I'll never be able to unsee it. Because, he said. Because what? Because I felt like it, he said. When I told Liz everything Terriold had said, she was excited and nothing more. I could understand that. She wasn't the one looking at a man who pretty much blown off one side of his face. She told me she had to go into the store and get some stuff. And leave me here with him? No, go back down the street. Wait by the car. I'll only be a minute. Harold was sitting there looking at me with the eye that was more or less regular than the one that was all stretched out. I could feel his gaze. It made me think of the time I went to a camp and got fleas and had to have this special stinky shampoo like 5 times before they were all gone. Shampoo wouldn't fix the way Terriold made me feel. Only getting away from him would do that. So I did what Liz asked, or what Liz said. I walked as far as the laundromat and looked in at the woman who was still folding clothes. She saw me and gave me a wave. That brought back the little girl with the hole in her throat, and how she had waved to me. And for one horrible moment, I thought the laundromat lady was also dead. Only a dead person wouldn't be folding clothes. They only stood around, or sat around, like Terriold. Still, I gave her a return wave. I even tried to smile. Then I turned back to the store and I told myself it was to see if Liz was coming out yet. But that wasn't why. I was looking to see if Terrell was still looking at me, and he was. He raised one hand, palm up, 3 fingers tucked into his palm, 1 finger pointed. He curled it once, then twice, very slowly. "Come here, boy." I walked back, my legs seeming to move of their own accord. I didn't want to, but I couldn't seem to help myself. "She doesn't care about you, Kenneth," Terrell said. "Not a fig. Not one single fig. She's using you, boy. Fuck you, we're saving lives." There was no one passing by, but even if somebody had been, he or she wouldn't have heard me. He had stolen all of my voice, but a whisper. What she's saving is her job. You don't know that. You're just one random psycho. Still only a whisper, and I felt on the verge of peeing myself. He didn't see anything, only grinned. That was his answer. Suddenly Liz came out. She had one of those cheap plastic bags they gave you in the stores like that back then. She looked at the bench where the ruined man she couldn't see was sitting, and then at me. "What are you doing here?" "Jamie, I told you to go to the car." And before I could answer, quick and harsh, like I was a perp in a TV cop show interrogation room. "Did he tell you something else?" "Yeah, that you only care about saving your job," I thought of saying. But maybe I already knew that. "No," I said, "I want to go home, Liz." We will. As soon as I do one more thing. 2 actually. I've also got to get your mess out of my car. She put an arm around my shoulder, like a good mom would, and walked me up past the laundromat. I would have waved to the clothing folded lady again, but her back was turned. I set something up. I didn't really think I'd have a chance to use it, but thanks to you. When we were next to her car, she took a flip phone out of the store bag. It was still in its blister pack. I leaned against the window of a shoe repair place and watched her fiddle with it until she got working. It was now 4:15. If Mom went for a drink with Barbara, we could still get back before she came home. But could I keep the afternoon adventures to myself? I didn't know. And right then it didn't seem that important. I wish Liz could at least have driven around the corner. I thought she could have smelled my puke for that long after what I've done for her. But she was too wound up. Plus, there was a bomb to consider. I thought all of the movies I'd seen where the clock is counting down to nothing and the hero is wondering whether to cut the red wire or the blue one. Now she was calling. "Colton? Yes, this is..." "Shut up, just listen. It's time to do your thing. You owe me a favor, a big one, and this is it. I'm going to tell you exactly what to say, record it, then..." "Shut up," I said. It sounds so vicious that I took a step back. I never heard Liz like that. I realized that I was seeing her for the first time in another life. The police life where she dealt with scumbags. Or scumbuckets, sorry. "Record it, then write it down, then call me back. Do it right away." He waited. I snuck a look back at the store. Both benches were empty. That should have been a relief, but somehow I didn't really feel relieved. "Ready?" "Okay." Let's close our eyes, shutting out everything but what she wanted to say. She spoke slowly and carefully. "If Ken Carriold was really Thumper, I'll break in there and say I want to record this. You wait till I say go, ahead, start again. Got that?" She listened until Colton, whoever he was, said he got it. "You say if Ken Carriold was really Thumper, he was always talking about finishing where you started. I'm calling you because we talked in 2008. I kept your card, you got that?" Another pause. Liz nodding. Good. I'll see who it is. Who is this? And then you hang up. Do it right away. This is time sensitive. Screw it up. You know I can't. She ended the call. She paced around on the sidewalk. I snuck another look at the benches. Empty. Maybe Terrell, whatever remains of him, was heading back home to check out the scene at the good old Frederick Arms. The drumbeat intro to Rumor Has It came from the pockets of Liz Blazer. She took out her real phone and said hello. She listened, then said, hold on, I want to record this. She did that, then said, go ahead, start again. Once the script was played out, she ended the call and put her phone away. It's not as strong as I'd like, she said. But will they care? Probably not, once they find the bomb, I said. Let's give a little start. And I realized she'd been talking to herself, now that I'd done what she wanted. I was just baggage. She had a roll of paper towels and a can of air freshener in the bag. She cleaned up my puke, dropped it in the gutter. $100 fine for littering, I found out later. And then sprayed the car with something that smelled like flowers. Get in, she told me. I'd be turned away if I didn't have to look at what remained of my lunch meat, ravioli. As far as cleaning up the mess went, I thought she owed me that. But when I turned back to get in the car, I saw Kenneth Terrell standing by the trunk, close enough to reach out and touch me, and still grinning. I might have screamed, but when I saw him, I was between breaths and my chest wouldn't seem to expand and grab another one. It was as if all the muscles had gone to sleep. I'll be seeing you, Terrell said. The grin widened, and I could see a cake of dead blood beneath his teeth and cheek. Champ? We only drove 3 blocks before she stopped again. She took out her phone, her real one, not the burner, then looked at me and saw I was shaking. I maybe could have used a hug then, but all I got was a pat on the shoulder. Presumptuous, sympathetic. Delayed reaction, kiddo. Know all about it, I'll pass. Then she made a call, identifying herself as Detective Dutton, and asked for Gordon Bishop. She must have been told he was on the job because Liz said, I don't care if he's on Mars, patch me through, this is priority 1. She waited, tapping the fingers of her free hand on the steering wheel. Then she straightened up. It's Dutton Gordon. No, I know, I'm not, but you need to hear this. I just got a tip about Terrell from someone I interviewed when I was on it. No, I don't know who. You need to check out the King Colon in Eastport, where he started, right? It makes a degree of sense if you think about it. Listening, then are you kidding? How many people did we interview back then? 100? 200? Listen, I'll play you the message. I recorded, assuming my phone worked. She knew it had. She checked it on our short 3-block drive. She played it for him, and when it was done, she said, Gordo, did you? Shit, she ended the call. He hung up. Liv gave me a grim smile. He hates my guts, but he'll check. He knows I'll be on him if he doesn't. Detective Bishop did check because by then they had time to start digging into Kenneth Terrell's past, and they found a nugget that stood out in the light of Liddy's anonymous tip. Long before his career in construction and his post-retirement career as an orderly at City of Angels, Terrell had grown up in the town of Westport, which is next door to Eastport. As a high school senior, he worked as a bag boy and shelf stalker at King Colon, where he was caught shoplifting. The first time he did it, Terrell was warned. The second time, he got canned. But stealing, it seems, was a hard habit to break. Later in life, he moved on to dynamite and blasting caps. A good supply of both was later found in a Queen's storage locker. All of it old, all of it from Canada. I guess the border searchers were a lot less thorough in those days. Can we go home now? I asked Liz. Please? Yes. Are you going to tell your mother about this? I don't know. She smiled. It was a rhetorical question. Of course you will. And that's okay. Doesn't bother me in the slightest. You know why? Because nobody would believe it? She patted my hand. That's right, champ. Hole in one. And with this, I'm gonna stop it for this recording. Thank you so much for listening. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye bye.